here with Bryan and Maggie from Asian Hustle Network. Such an honor to have you guys here. Thank you for joining us for 2021 Imagine Talks. You were at our 2020 Imagine Talks, is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct. We were also a sponsor as well.
Yeah.
That's right. And thank you so much for being a sponsor of 2021. Super appreciate that. There's so many questions I have for you, but I think the biggest question I think everyone's asking is, how did you guys even have the vision to start this amazing network? And like, what exactly was the genesis idea, the inspiration behind it all?
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you, Francis. And thanks for the introduction. We're super happy to be here. Really, the inspiration, it goes back to 2019. And Bryan and I were actually on a trip to Asia, and we went to Tokyo. And we went to the Meiji Shrine. And if you've ever been to the Meiji Shrine, you know that once you go in, you can actually write down your wishes and your prayers on a wooden tablet. And we saw people actually write down their wishes and hang them on trees, and on the wall. And all of those tablets said anything from, I hope my mom gets better, or I hope I get into this school, or I hope I get this job. And it really resonated with us because every person has their own story. And their story is unique to them. No one can take your story away from you. And everyone, has this dream, this wish that they have in their life. And so we took this concept, we really liked it because oftentimes we feel like when we have a dream or a wish, we can't tell anyone about it, right? Maybe we're afraid of what people might think, but we write it down somewhere or we tell it to ourselves. And so we really like this concept, and that was one part of the inspiration. In April of 2019, Bryan came to me and said, I really want to start a community for Asians. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I just know that I want to do something for the Asian community. And I thought, that's a really great idea. Let's, think about that and see what we can do. And, Bryan and I were also in real estate. Bryan does flipping, and I was doing a little bit of interior design. So we were going to a lot of conferences for real estate, other networking events as well. But we would always see the same pattern over and over again, where there would be a panel of speakers, but none of them were of Asian descent. And this would just happen all the time. And we knew that Asians are often underrepresented, not only in real estate, but in a lot of industries. And we see that over and over again. Yeah. So we took this idea and we went back home and we thought, okay, let's try to see if there's any online community for Asian professionals. We couldn't find any, but if we did, they were often very exclusive, and it would have to be really expensive as well. You would have to pay a really hefty fee to pay for like an annual fee. And we thought that this really defeats the purpose of the community because we wanted to bring people together, especially aspiring entrepreneurs, right? Aspiring entrepreneurs are going to be our future. And if we can't create a community where everyone can feel like they're included, then really what is the point of building a community? And so that's where, Bryan came to me and we thought about, there is such a thing as Facebook groups. And there were a lot of Facebook groups that we are part of, especially in the real estate industry. But we never thought about, okay, let's start one for the Asian community until it was November 2019. We were like, okay, let's just try it out. Let's do a Facebook group. And I had no more than 500 friends on Facebook. Bryan had probably no more than 1,000 friends on Facebook. So combined, we invited about 1,500 people to the group. And we thought, no one's going to see it anyway. We're just going to invite our personal, internal group of friends, and let's just see how it goes. And Bryan and I started posting about, our struggles, stories about, our entrepreneurial journeys, stuff about our parents, like how they immigrated from Asia to the United States, about their habits and their values that were instilled in our parents that were passed down to us. The types of habits that were, really built that hustle mentality, and kind of trickled down to us and shaped who we are as a person. And other people started to do the same. And we knew that people wanted to talk about their journey, talk about their entrepreneurial journey, but a lot of these people didn't know where to talk about it to or who to talk about it to, but they felt like they could, go into this safe space and talk about the entrepreneurial journey there. So within the first 3 days, we got to 1,000 members, which is pretty incredible to us because we didn't think that it would grow so fast. And now a year later, a little bit over a year later, now we're at 70,000 members.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
My God. And what about you, Bryan? What was from your end, on your side of the story? What was it like from your perspective?
Oh man, I mean, I spent an unhealthy amount of time watching CNN's Great Big Story, and then I'm a huge fan of Humans of New York. So it became opportunity for me to create my own community. Those are my two main inspiration because I typically like hearing people's story. I like hearing about how they got there. That's always been a curiosity of mine growing up. You know, because when I grew up in a relatively poor area. So I purposely hung out with my friends in college who are wealthy, but instead of like asking them questions, I would ask their parents questions like, what do you guys do for a living? Or like, what does stocks mean to you? Because all these terms were taboo in my family. Like we did not believe in investing. We didn't believe in a lot of things. The stock market was a bad thing. You know, so I had to unlearn a lot of things that my parents taught me by learning from the quote unquote wealthy individuals that I learned. And I knew that this information is valuable not only to myself, but to other people to sort of see. You know, and when I got into real estate investing, I got to a point where I was pretty comfortable. My mindset started changing. It's not about me anymore. It's about what can I do for other people.
That's beautiful.
That's the genesis behind Asian Hustle Network.
Okay, that does lead me to the vision. It explains a lot of the vision of what you both have for it. And I want to actually do a slight tangent because you guys said something that really resonated with me in the sense that you're given a space for a certain group of demographic of people to share something that has a really core commonality, which is this immigration story, right? And I was talking with some friends last night about how the Asian American experience is a unique experience, right? It has almost this hybrid culture of East and West. Why do you think that's not shared and made such a big pride thing as it should be in our community?
Yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic, right? When you understand the word Asian in America or Australia or Canada is relatively new. You know, it's only a generation ago where families were at war at each other, countries at war at each other. And when we got to this new country, they group us all in one category. It assumed that we speak the same language and understand the same things. But the reality is, we're so new. This Asian word is so new that all of us here are essentially pioneers to it. Like we get to take this word and define it how we feel shapes our culture.
Right.
But because most of us are first generations, we are creating a new community because our parents' generation essentially have a lot of the Asian values, but we are now Asian American or Asian Australian or Asian Canadian. So we have a unique experience where our parents don't understand and they don't even try to understand. So we have to find a community that people understand us, you know?
Yeah. And just to echo off of that, I think that as an Asian community, we're still learning how to get along with each other.
Yeah.
Because Bryan and I always talk about this with other people too, how our parents and our grandparents are actually, we're actually one generation away from, war. Our grandparents and parents were, in war. And I think that also trickles down to how we think, because they often tell us, just stick with who you know and stick with your own community. And I think that's why I was surrounded by so many Chinese American people while I was growing up, because I am Chinese. But right now, because we're living in a different generation, we have to understand that we are all Asian. We have gone through similar struggles, but we have to stop, kind of classifying ourselves in different groups, like Koreans and Chinese and Vietnamese, et cetera, but we should all come together collectively and think of us as Asians, and I think that if we do that, we can work together, more efficiently, more collaboratively.
Then that's the only way that we can make changes.
Yeah.
If we come together and finally come together and like under one identity, that's the only way we can make change in this country.
I love that. It's what I'm hearing is that we are in a generation where we are actually defining our identity for ourselves for the first time because we have to, because it's on us now, because our parents are not on that boat, and definitely no one else outside the Asian community is definitely on that boat either. So it's really up to us to do this. I love that. So you have the Asian part down. How did the hustle part come in? The second part of the whole group's nomenclature, how did you choose the word hustle or versus entrepreneurship or community? Where did that inspiration come from?
I like the word hustle a lot. It really resonates with me and resonates with Asian culture. I know that it has a bad connotation to it because I don't like getting hustled. You're hustling someone, But to me, it's always a good connotation because I feel like hustle is a way for you to pursue what you want to do. While you have a job, it's called a side hustle, until it becomes a main hustle. And to me, it's essentially synonymous to the word Asian. Like we work hard, We prioritize our passions and making money from it. So we decided to pick the word Asian hustle. But we needed to add one more word because when we did some market research for the word Asian hustle, it was very X-rated. And we wanted to create a community, so we decided to add the word network to it, Asian Hustle Network.
Yeah, and so Bryan actually came to me with the word hustle, and he said, I really love the word hustle. And if you see like his posters all over his wall, you'll see all these like posters that say the word hustle and grind. And
Not the word grind, the word hustle.
Hustle, yeah, just very similar words to hustle. And that's how, Bryan came about with that word and how he wanted to build that word into the name Asian Hustle Network. And initially I was a little bit hesitant because, obviously, like Bryan said, there is a bad connotation to the word hustle when people say like, oh, that person hustled me. However, when we actually did the name or created the name for the group, everyone actually really resonated with the word. And I think a lot of Asians actually resonate with the word.
That's when I looked at Maggie and says, I told you so.
He always says like, he's like, I told you so. And he's like, now you like the word hustle now, right? And we're actually trying to, I guess with the group, in a way, we're trying to redefine, what the word hustle means, right? And now people really resonate with that word and they love that word. And, thinking back to myself, like, yes, I feel like my parents really did hustle, because they have did everything that they could to save enough money for me and my two sisters to go to college. My dad did everything he could to, he was like very frugal so that he could save enough money for a lot of us and for me and my two sisters. And he just worked every single day. And to me, like thinking back, like, wow, my parents really did hustle their way to like provide us with a better future. And I think a lot of people resonate with that too. Like they think that their parents, hustled their way to provide them with a better future, or, some in one way or another, someone, an idol, right, has really shown them that, they all they need to do is hustle, and work hard, and you will, achieve your dreams.
Yeah, we also have inspirational quotes around the house via vinyl stickers. So we have them custom made, printed out, and around the house. And that comes from our inspiration from anything that resonates with us. So our values are literally printed around our house. So we always remember like who we are, what we're about, and what we can do for the community.
I love that. So on that note, I want to ask, what is your favorite hustle quote?
My favorite hustle quote. You want to go first?
Oh, I don't know if it's an exact quote from someone, but I read it somewhere, and it doesn't have the word hustle in it, but it has a lot to do with hustle mentality, and it says, use every day as an opportunity to become better. And I really love that because I am all about, I think that it also comes from deep-rooted insecurities as well, because I come from a mindset where, when I was young, I did think like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough to be successful, or maybe I'm not good enough to make a lot of money. But as I grew older, I think that I really had to change that mindset and grow thicker skin and change my insecurities to be strengths. Because I do believe that anyone can change. And if one person is not where they want to be right now, it doesn't mean that there isn't potential there. So if there is, this person that you want to become, there's obviously a way to get there. And it doesn't mean that it's not impossible. There's always a possibility for you to become better. And that's the quote that I love. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite quote?
Yeah, my quote is behind all my videos and all my podcast recordings. It's called "Be the change you want to see in the world" by Gandhi.
Love that one.
It's one of my favorite because for me, I have a lot of inner peace, and every time running any type of organization is difficult. It comes with its own set of challenges. Yeah. And for me, it's like I like to lead by example, and I know that. And I know that essentially always starts from how I feel inside first, and that's usually how it projects outside. If inside I feel great, I know that I want to be the change that I want to see in the world, and I know that I can make that difference. I know I have the power to do that. So that's my favorite quote.
Cool. So Asian being a community that we are now reinventing for ourselves, and hustle meaning actually evolution. The question I really want to ask you guys, the final question I want to ask you guys is 2020, huge issues of being Asian has come up. And obviously evolution in the way we do business, the way we learn, the way we coexist with each other now racially. What do you see? What are things that you hope not just the Asian American community, but the national and global community can learn from as the ethnic groups and also evolutionary groups? What are lessons that you hope your network can actually set examples for people right now?
Yeah, I can take that question. I think the biggest thing is understanding from each other and taking the time to listen. Like a lot of our issues and conflicts in our community is because of misunderstanding. It's because we don't come from a place where we want to sit back and like kind of listen and understand how we can help. And once we have a level of understanding within our community, then now we can reach out to other communities too and try to understand where they're coming from. You know, even with the conflict that happened in 2020, just kind of shows that, you know, we don't listen. You know, we're pretty fragmented. We have strong beliefs. We have people who are now shedding their limiting beliefs and people who still have the limiting beliefs clashing all the time. So one of our biggest takeaways is that we like to help the community without them knowing that they're being helped. You know, there's certain strategic posts that we approve in the community that amplifies our values and messages without us saying anything. You know that people just being in the community, scrolling around, reading these stories, reading these values, it's going to affect them psychologically and open them to more change. You know, because we can't tell people how to live their life. We can't tell people like what they can or cannot do. We can only help them learn without them knowing that they're being helped, and that's our mission.
Yeah, and I'd like to add on top of that too. You know, obviously in 2020, as we were going through COVID-19, the Asian community was experiencing a lot of racism and xenophobia, as we all know. However, we've really seen the Asian Hustle Network group grow from that experience because Asian people wanted to learn more about their heritage and learn more about their culture because they saw what was happening. And we all understood that we need to band together so that we could, you know, be strong. And we didn't want to seem like we were in the backgrounds anymore. And we didn't want to stay silent anymore because for generations, we've always stayed silent. And I think that the whole pandemic has really made us realize that we have voices now that we can use and we need to stand up for ourselves, right? And also, you know, if people come to us, that we do get, you know, sometimes people come to us and say like, oh, what is the vision for Asian Hustle Network, right? What do you think that you will accomplish from it? Because some people actually think that nothing will be accomplished. And, you know, people will think that way. However, we often feel like the later generations have left a foundation for us to feel inspired to create organizations and communities like these. And maybe, you know, in 10 years, the next generation after us will create organizations or communities like these, right? And the reason why we create these communities is so that we can actually be an inspiration for the whole community. And later generations can also find that inspiration from us. And if we continue to go down that road, then, you know, we will continue to improve, right? And we're only going to get closer to, you know, becoming more, you know, work together better, and we're gonna make strides and make differences in the world.
Yeah, I do want to add too that, you know, from the community trying to make a difference, we created a nonprofit called Hate is a Virus.
Right, yes.
In which I partner with Tammy Cho.
Yes, she's one of our speakers this year. Love her, she's amazing.
Yeah, I met her at the event last year as well. And you know, the purpose of that organization is to combat racism and xenophobia. We raised over $30,000 that we donated all to nonprofits and mom and pop shops who are struggling by COVID-19.
That's beautiful, yes. And also we had the honor of interviewing Michelle Hanabusa, who also was involved with that movement, I believe, too, right?
Yes.
So kudos to both of them, and also for you for helping lead and create that movement. I think that's all the time we have, and I just want to say thank you again for stopping by, sharing your story, inspiring our community, helping us find our identity, and inspiring us to evolve beyond who we are today. Always a pleasure, Maggie and Bryan. Thank you so much, and I hope that we will see each other without mask and in a public event in 2022 together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so
take
much,
care.
Francis.
Thank you.
Thank you.